Oh my God, Anita.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of the Willie Bragg Show, where I like to discuss some politics. And I want to discuss Jimmy Dore and David Pakman because they were never exactly very chummy, and it is an interesting take on his David Pakman's take on Jimmy Dore possibly running for president. So before I go about that, I'm going to make a quick announcement. And that quick announcement is this. At 8 o'clock this coming Wednesday, 8 o'clock, let's see, July the 5th is on a Monday, 6th is on a Tuesday, no, 4th is on a Monday, 5th, Tuesday, 6th, July the 6th, I believe it is. July the 6th at 8 p.m. Wednesday, I will be interviewing or chatting with Joey McCarran. He will be the guest on the Willie Bragg Show. And so we'll be having a chat on democratic socialism and where the left can proceed. And I've known Joey for years, so and he'll be telling you his story and all of that. So stay tuned, and that should be at 8 o'clock on the 6th of July at 8 p.m. So just keep that in mind. And also on July 13th, a week later at 11 a.m., I'm sorry, I'm going to have a specific time like normal when I get this correct. So Matthew Hoh, who is supposed to be the Green Party candidate for the U.S. Senate until North Carolina decided to go and take him off the ballot, or the Green Party off the ballot, he's going to be interviewed on July 13th at 11 a.m. I repeat, Matthew Hoh, the candidate for the Green Party in North Carolina, the candidate who has rightfully done what's needed to be done so he could become the candidate for the Green Party to be on the North Carolina ballot, who was taken off the ballot. He's going to be interviewed on July 13th, July 13th, 2022 at 11 a.m. So there you have it. So I'll be making announcements little by little, and everybody else who's going to be on the show, you'll keep hearing about their announcements and everything like that. So, all right. So let's get to the story, shall we? I think we shall do that. Oh my goodness. Okay, good. Okay. All right. Now, these video clips are kind of, I'm going to get into the video clips myself eventually. It won't be me talking on these video clips, but I think it'll be a nice little educational tool on socialism, historical events, people, that sort of thing. Yeah. Got all kinds of surprises up my sleeve. So right now, I'm going to play you a clip from one of David Pakman's shorts. and where he's talking about Jimmy Dore running for president. So give me a second here. We'll get started momentarily, and I'll share some words afterwards. Here we go. All right, hold on.
Really weird Jimmy Dore story that I thought was satire. I guess Jimmy Dore is thinking about running for president with the People's Party, which doesn't have ballot access in any states, and says that Ralph Nader is going to be advising his campaign. That's the story. It seems like it would be satirical. I saw a hilarious article saying Jimmy Dore would be the most popular comedian to run for president. Is that meaningful? I don't even understand. Okay. I also know a guy who is the most skilled plumber to run for president. But is that relevant to the job? It's all very strange. Maybe it's just a joke. I don't know, but we'll follow it.
Okay. Well, that's what you heard it from David Pakman himself. And you can tell there's a degree of cynicism he's got about Jimmy Dore running. And I know that there is some bad blood. Well, let's just say that it looks like Jimmy Dore's got bad blood with almost everybody who was with the Young Turks or currently are still affiliated or in positive terms with the Young Turks at the moment. Most notably was Sam Cedar initially, and then eventually, and I know that he's not been very charitable toward David Pakman, and David Pakman likewise has not been very charitable toward Jimmy Dore. Jimmy Dore and Kyle were kind of on friendly terms. That's gone. And so there's that. He's been kind of almost everybody from the boutique left. Kyle's not boutique left, but David Pakman has been kind of shunned to the side by Jimmy Dore. So there's that. But the thing about it is that there's a degree of cynicism, and while I'm not one to sit there and to be overly critical of David Pakman, except that, which is weird because if you go on my regular Facebook page, neither of them know me, but I am friends with David Pakman on Facebook, and I am friends with Jimmy Dore on Facebook. Neither of them know who the hell I am. But, people get Facebook requests, and public figures just accept them. But the point is that I listen to what both have to say, and I have agreed and disagreed with David Pakman over the years. I have agreed and disagreed with with Jimmy Dore over the years, and and they both have something to offer toward the left. My problem with David Pakman in this day and age is that he suffered from Trump derangement syndrome, and it became Republican bad, Democrat good, although he's a little bit better about it than, let's say, MSNBC. And his take is pretty much the take of a Majority Report or the Young Turks. And so, it's a little bit better. The boutique left is a little bit better than mainstream liberal media, but sometimes I get a little frustrated with the boutique left. My problem with the Jimmy Dore types, where I think Jimmy Dore's got a little bit a better grasp on things. There's a little bit too much antagonism and too much contrarianism. And sometimes the contrarianism draws people into negative conclusions. And so some people actually think he's gone right wing. And I'm sorry, but you're not right wing if you're supporting Venezuela. I don't know too many right wingers or like leave Maduro alone, that sort of thing. And Jimmy Dore's position on Venezuela is more in line with the left than David Pakman's line, on that issue. So, and honestly, where do they really honestly disagree when it comes to ideology? Where do they really disagree? I can narrow it down to basically two major areas where Jimmy Dore and David Pakman are going to profoundly disagree. Jimmy Dore is an accelerationist. He's not sheep herding for the Republicans like some people claim. He's an accelerationist. He's deeply cynical and angry with the system. So he's like, well, just tear the whole goddamn thing down and make it so bad that that those left wingers in the Democratic Party go into this People's Party. I think that's his deal. Maybe even Republicans, if they are so dissatisfied with things, but find a new political party by just, let everything just go all the hell in a handbasket. Kind of a nihilist attitude is accelerationism. And some people think that's sheep herding for the Republicans. It isn't. I don't exactly fall in line with accelerationism, but I do understand it pretty well because I dealt with that sort when I was in the Socialist Party USA. David Pakman is more on the harm reduction side. David Pakman and people who follow a David Pakman point of view would be correct that the Republicans are worse than the Democrats. Absolutely. 95% of the time, the Republicans are always going to be worse on any policy issue than the Democrats. And to slow down the right wing freight train over America is you do it with the best way you can to soften the blow. And even though the Democratic Party isn't much, someone like a David Pakman be like, well, voting harder is the way to soften the blow on what can happen in this country. And maybe if the blows are softened enough, maybe we can do some reforms and actually make things a little bit better, or attempt to. I mean, I understand both of their point of view. I understand where they both are coming from. And I am somehow have always been in the middle of harm reduction and accelerationism. And my position is this: under no circumstances will I ever vote for a corporate Democrat. Under no circumstances. And so, I understand why David Pakman would do it. I just can't bring myself to supporting a Joe Biden or a Hillary Clinton or a Joe Manchin or a Kyrsten Sinema in the name of stopping maybe some fucked up Republican challenger who are going to be worse policy wise. I just can't do it. Can't do it. I mean, I've done it a time or two with people like Erskine Bowles, who ran against Elizabeth Dole in 2002, for example, and down in North Carolina. Just can't do it. Can't vote in the name of harm reduction, because in my experience, harm reduction mounts to basically, it doesn't stop the right from, it doesn't slow down the right. It actually enables the right, because the right draw the line in the sand. And those Democrats are willing to play patty cake and play according to the rules of the right. They may put up a little bit of a show and dance and may talk back to the Republican, but they end up, cooperating anyway. So I don't believe in harm reduction. The problem with accelerationism planned by people like Jimmy Dore, it leaves you no room for allies whatsoever, or very little for allies. And so you'll end up being a tiny sectarian little cadre of activists with no access toward the broader left or the mainstream. And I don't want to go into history with myself, but this is why this is the kind of crap I went into when I was in the Socialist Party USA, for example. And I think that there are people who falls into this and some of the other groups, whether it's the Socialist Workers Party or whether it's the ISO, which the ISO no longer exists, or whatever, Solidarity, or whatever group there is out there, whatever alphabet soup of what is the left out there. They run across this problem because everybody wants to be so ideologically pure and so perfect on every ideological question that you get nowhere. So I am neither an accelerationist the way Jimmy Dore believes in accelerationism, and I do not believe in harm reduction in the way that David Pakman believes in harm reduction. So I'm just kind of repeating that point over and over. That's basically one of the difference. Jimmy Dore hates the two-party system to the point he will never support anybody from the two-party system. That's Jimmy Dore's position. David Pakman's position is, and I have actually in the past also had this attitude that maybe, possibly, the Democratic Party could be transformed into a Labor Party or a Social Democratic Party. But I actually reject that. The Democratic Party here in the United States is hopelessly to the right of the UK Tories. That's the reality. Sorry, David. Another issue where David Pakman and Jimmy Dore are going to clash, and the left is going to be pretty much more on Jimmy Dore's side on this one, even the ones that hate the hell out of Jimmy Dore and are likely to be more on David Pakman's side. It's the Israeli-Palestinian issue. No disrespect, David Pakman, but I mean, I understand that he's Jewish and he is a Zionist. I know he supports Israel, and I understand where he's coming from, and I know he's not the worst in that camp, but there is a problem in Israel when it comes to discrimination against the Palestinians, and he has to understand why there are people who are critical, or so harshly critical against Israel. So and I think he understands that, I think he does understand that. I hope he does, but I'm trying to be as generous as I can on this thorny issue. At one time, I was quite the shit-lived, and at one time, I did have the same position on Israel as David Pakman. I don't anymore. But the point I'm trying to make is that David Pakman, that is the position, whereas Jimmy Dore's position is the modern day's left position. Whereas there was a time it was David Pakman's position was the mainstream position on that issue. With Jimmy Dore's position is this. Jimmy Dore is basically a harsh critic of the Israeli state. And he sees it for what it is. I mean, when the Israeli government started shifting further to the right, starting in the 70s, and it manifests in its ugliest form in the guise of someone like Benjamin Netanyahu in the last decade, you could just see what horrible crimes have been committed by the government. Not because they're Jewish, it has nothing to do with the country being Jewish, it has something to do with bad people being elected in government. Just as there's nothing wrong with the average person in Saudi Arabia. You just have bad people in charge of Saudi Arabia. Just as, Marjorie Taylor Greene doesn't represent the average American, nor even the average Georgian. We can just go on and further and further, and all of that. And my point is this, that's a big difference also between Jimmy Dore and David Pakman. So I think that I'm just kind of giving you what my take on what a quick history of the animosity that they have toward one another. So and I'm not going to be too long with this, but I wanted to comment on this, and all of that. So People's Party. I have my problems with the People's Party. I have my criticisms. I have my ambivalence about them. But at the same time, they're better than the Democrats and certainly better than the Republicans. And given the choice between what's going to ever happen with the Green Party in North Carolina is somehow the People's Party made it on the ballot, and that was all there is on the left in the year 2024 in North Carolina. If I'm still living in North Carolina 2024, Joe Biden is the candidate, and there's a left-wing option called Jimmy Dore. I would vote for Jimmy Dore over Joe Biden any day. Honestly, I would. I wouldn't even think twice about it. and and partly it's because North Carolina is a very, very red state. It is profoundly flaming, bleeding red. And and as much as I despise Ron DeSantis, and Ron DeSantis is worse, as sucky and as horrible as Joe Biden is, Ron DeSantis is profoundly worse. I would still vote for Jimmy Dore over Joe Biden. I honestly would. There's just no way in hell, I would ever support any corporate Democrat again. And especially the way that the Democratic Party here in North Carolina, what they did to the Green Party this past week, is making me say independent political action 100%. And it has nothing to do with accelerationism, but the Democratic Party doesn't care about the left. If they did, they will either be left wing and be so good that they wouldn't have to worry about the Green Party. But if they're doing what they could to pluck the Green Party off the ballot here in North Carolina, that says a lot about the Democratic Party. They know what they're doing. They know they're shitty. They know they're insufficiently progressive. They know they're Republican light, and they're going to do what they can to shut down the left. I'm telling you, we're headed to another Clinton era on steroids after the 2022 election. Mark my words, that's exactly what's happening. And anyway, if you like what you heard, press like and comment. If you disagree, comment anyway. We will have a conversation. Feel free to share the content on this channel. As a First Amendment absolutist, it's my duty to inform you to create your own platform and utilize it, because we are the muckrakers of our time. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. And remember, we must do what we can to reject corporate media, because they have nothing, absolutely nothing whatsoever to offer. Absolutely nothing. So until next time, I'm Willie Bragg, and y'all have a great day off tomorrow if you're off, and have fun, and let's try to make this country and the world a better place. Take care.
Tired of paying rent? Are you
Uh-oh. I have a little problem. Problem. All right. Problem solved.